Shalom and good morning. We're going to continue on with Genesis chapter 6. And it came to be when men began to increase on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of Yahu'ah saw the daughters of men, and that they were good. And they took wives for themselves of all whom they chose. And Yahu'ah said, My Ruach shall not strive with man forever in his going astray. He is flesh, and his days shall be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of Yahu'ah came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, the men of name. And Yahu'ah saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And Yahu'ah was sorry that he made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. Yahu'ah said, I am going to wipe off man, whom I have created from the face of the ground, both man and beast, creeping creature and birds of the Shemayim, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of Yahu'ah. This is the genealogy of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, perfect in his generations. Noah walked with Yahu'ah. And Noah brought forth 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And the earth was corrupt before Yahu'ah, and the earth was filled with violence. And Yahu'ah looked upon the earth and saw that it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. And Yahu'ah said to Noah, The end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through men. And see, I am going to destroy them from the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Make rooms in the ark, and cover it inside and outside with a covering. And this is how you are to make it. The length of the ark is 300 cubits, its width 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. Make a window for the ark, and complete it to a cubit from above. And set the door of the ark in its side. Make it with lower, second, and third decks. And see, I myself am bringing floodwaters on the earth, to destroy all flesh in which is the breath of life from under the Shemayim. All that is on the earth is to die. And I shall establish my covenant with you, and you shall come into the ark, you and your sons and your wife and your sons' wives with you. And all of the living of all flesh, 2 of each you are to bring into the ark, to keep them alive with you, a male and a female. Of the birds after their kind, and of the cattle after their kind, and all of the creeping creatures on the ground after their kind, 2 of each are to come to you, to keep them alive. As for you, take all the food that is eaten, and gather it to yourself, and it shall be food for you and for them. And Noah did according to all that Yahu'ah commanded him, so he did. Chapter 7. And Yahu'ah said to Noah, Come into the ark, you and all your household, because I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. Of all the clean beasts, take with you 7 pairs, a male and his female. And of the beasts that are unclean, 2, a male and his female. And of birds of the Shemayim, 7 pairs, male and female, and to keep offspring alive of the face of all the earth. For after 7 more days I am sending rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and shall wipe from the face of the earth all that stand that I created. And Noah did according to all that Yahu'ah commanded him. Now Noah was 600 years old when the floodwaters were on the earth. And Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives went into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Of the clean beast and of the beasts that are unclean, and of the birds and all that creep on the earth. 2 by 2 they went into the ark to Noah, male and female, as Yahu'ah had commanded Noah. And it came to be after 7 days that the waters of the flood were on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second new month, the 17th day of the month, on that day the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of the Shemaim were open. And the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On that same day, Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons, with them went into the ark. And they in every life form after its kind, and every beast after its kind, and every creeping creature that creeps on the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, every bird of every sort. And they went into the ark to Noah 2 by 2, all flesh is which is the breath of life. And those going in, male and female of all flesh, went in as Yahu'ah had commanded him, and Yahu'ah shut him in. And the flood was on the earth 40 days, and the waters increased and lifted up the ark, and it rose above the earth. And the waters were mighty and greatly increased on the earth, as the ark moved about on the surface of the waters. And the waters were exceedingly mighty on the earth, and all the high mountains under all the Shemaim were covered. And the waters became mightily 15 cubits upward, and the mountains were covered. And all flesh died, the creeping creature on the earth, birds and cattle and beasts, and every swarming creature that swarms on the earth, and all mankind. All in whose nostrils was the breath of the Spirit of life, all that was on the dry land died. So he wiped off all that stand, which were on the face of the ground, both man and beast, creeping creature and bird of the Shemaim. And they were wiped off from the earth, and only Noah was left, and those with him in the ark. And the waters were mighty on the earth 150 days. Genesis chapter 8. And Yahu'ah remembered Noah, and all the beasts and all the cattle that were with him in the ark. And Yahu'ah made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters subsided. And the fountains of the deep and the windows of the Shemaim were stopped, and the rain from the Shemaim was withheld. And the waters receded steadily from the earth, and at the end of the 150 days the waters diminished. And in the 7th new month, the 17th day of the new month, the ark rested on the mountains of Ararat. And the waters decreased steadily until the 10th new month. In the 10th new month, on the first day of the new month, the tops of the mountains became visible. And it came to be, at the end of 40 days, that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made. And he sent out a raven, which kept going out and returning back until the waters had dried up from the earth. Then he sent out a dove from it, to see if the waters had receded from the face of the ground. But the dove found no resting place for its feet, and returned into the ark to him. For the waters were on the face of all the earth, so he put out his hand and took, and pulled it into the ark to himself. And he waited yet another 7 days, and again sent the dove out from the ark. And the dove came back to him in the evening, and see, a freshly plucked olive leaf was in its mouth. And Noah knew that the waters had receded from the earth. And he waited yet another 7 days, and sent out the dove, which did not return to him again. And it came to be in the 601st year, in the first month, the first day of the new month, that the waters were dried up from the earth. And Noah removed the covering of the ark, and looked, and saw the surface of the ground was dry. And in the second new month of the 27th day of the new month, the earth was dry. And Yahu'ah spoke to Noah, saying, Go out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons wives with you. And bring out with you every life form of all flesh that is with you, of birds, cattle, all creeping creatures, the creeping creatures on the earth, and let them teem on the earth, and bear an increase on the earth. So Noah went out, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him. Every beast, every creeping creature, and every bird, whatever creeps on the earth according to their kind, went out of the ark. But Noah built a slaughter place to Yahu'ah, and took of every clean beast and every clean bird, and offered ascending offerings on the slaughter place. And Yahu'ah smelled a soothing fragrance, and Yahu'ah said in his heart, Never again shall I curse the ground because of man, although the inclination of man's heart is evil from his youth, and never again never again strike all living creatures as I have done. As long as the earth remains, seedtime and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease.